He has been obviously arrested at the beginning of November 2020, but on a personal level, he's upbeat, he's optimistic, as I am. Obviously, if a witness is there in court, you can cross-examine them and challenge them. If the statement is coming in, you can't cross-examine a piece of paper. As you know, it's an adversarial process. The burden is on the prosecution to prove the allegations beyond reasonable doubt. And at that stage, we hopefully will be in a better position to know whether interim release would be something that would be possible or not. I think anyone who's been detained away from their family for 4.5 years, it's going to have a significant impact on you. He has been obviously arrested at the beginning of November 2020, but he's followed the proceedings. He's taken part in every single court session. He's diligently followed and cooperated with every single direction from the panel in court. But on a personal level, he's upbeat, he's optimistic, as I am, and certainly hopes that justice can take its course. It takes a long time, but that ultimately it will result in the verdict that we hope for. I think the prosecution case was, as I said at the beginning, there were concerns I expressed about the case. Those concerns have not been allayed by the case. In fact, I'm as confident in those gaps and those issues as I was at the beginning. I think the way the case has been presented is sometimes been confusing, and that's been an issue raised by the judges in the trial in one of the status conferences, that it hasn't necessarily been presented in a coherent and consistent way. And so whether you use the word weak or whether you use whatever other word, there are issues with the case which we're confident will result, as I said, in a positive outcome. Yes, I think one of the biggest issues that I would wish to raise about it is the amount of evidence that has been presented in the case in written format. Obviously, if a witness is there in court, you can cross-examine them and challenge them. If the statement is coming in, you can't cross-examine a piece of paper. And so that's one issue that I think will need to be addressed, and how much weight to be given to those testimonies that were not presented live by individuals. That will be a question for the judges to determine in due course. We have a process in the court under Rule 130 where at the end of the prosecution case, which as you know is coming up on the 15th of April, we get to indicate to the judges that we will file a motion to dismiss some or all of the charges. That's something that we're looking at the moment. We're discussing with the other teams, and we'll certainly be ready to do so if that's something that we wish to do. At the moment, we have not taken any decision on whether we would need to call defence witnesses. If so, how many witnesses we would need to call or who they would be. As you know, it's an adversarial process. The burden is on the prosecution to prove the allegations beyond reasonable doubt. And we have this process first, the Rule 130 process, where we may contest the allegations and request the judges to dismiss some or all of those charges. It's only once that decision has been rendered by the trial panel that we will be able to take a decision as to whether we need to call defence witnesses, and if so, who and how many. But in those circumstances, certainly at other tribunals, they have allowed individuals to be granted provisional or interim release at certain stages of the proceedings. This is one of those stages when such a request could be filed. We're not expecting the victims to be presenting their case for a few months, maybe less. It's difficult to know. We have, hopefully we'll be having a status conference in the near future after the end of the prosecution case, when we'll be able to determine a bit of a schedule as to what happens for the rest of the victim's case, and then potentially the defence case if necessary. And at that stage, we hopefully will be in a better position to know whether interim release would be something that would be possible or not.